When I was around 8 or 9, it came out that my mom was having an affair with some guy that would come into town for business every few weeks or so. How they met is still a mystery to me, as my mother has never gone into details about what happened. What I do know is my dad figured it out because the timeline just didn't add up. This guy ghosted my mom when he found out she was pregnant, and it turned out he was wanted for tax evasion. So he's in prison for money laundering, scam, tax. My mom and dad wanted to save their marriage and were going to put the baby into the system. My aunt stepped in and took him off my mom's hands. Things were fine for a while before my aunt moved to New York. I haven't seen or heard from her since. She and my mom apparently had a major fight. Every second Christmas, my grandparents would fly out to spend with her. And every birthday for my half-brother, they'd fly out to spend with her there. We never spent holidays with my aunt. She always stayed in NYC and never paid us much mind. My grandparents died very close to each other this year, one of old age and the other of cancer. They've left everything to my aunt, and she's in the process of selling the house. Well, they've left it to my half-brother to be more exact. They gave me and my sister some money, but they left everything to my aunt to help my half-brother. My mom wants to sue my aunt because she claims my aunt is rich enough from her job. And now we have this issue of my mom wanting to sue my aunt for the inheritance. She wants to go see a lawyer on Monday, but I can't talk her down from how bad of an idea this is. Let the lawyer tell your mom she's an idiot and has no claim. There's nothing you need to do here. So it was easy to give up her own child, but it's surprisingly very difficult to let him have his rightful inheritance. She's a piece of work. Let's see. Your mom ducked around on your dad with an upstanding member of society who went to jail for tax evasion. This individual left your wonderful mom pregnant. In order to stay married to this wonderful woman you call mom, she gave the baby away to your aunt. Your grandparents left the majority of the money to your aunt who is taking care of your half-brother, who is from another man. First of all, your mom ducked over you, your sister, and most of all your dad and her own sister. She is quite a role model in the family. Your mom is not a wise person. Please, don't look up to her in life. To be brief, I, 26 female, caught my ex-boyfriend, 31 male, of 4 years, sexting someone who was just a friend, thanks to him getting a new device that he asked me to help set up and his data getting restored on it. Thank you, Cloud. Blindsided completely, confronted him about it last Thursday, and he trickled a confession that the ongoing affair also became physical. He's been begging me to stay, come back, work things out, but I moved out. Currently staying the weekend with a friend and her family, but only for the weekend, and I don't want to overstay my welcome. Plan was to move out, go no contact, and forget him, because duck him. But it's quite hard, not because of lingering feelings or crap like that, but because it's hard setting up a fresh start. It's hard finding a new place that's in a decent location, quite close to my work, within the budget, and immediately available to move into. I found a few potential ones, but it'll take a month or so before I'll be able to move in. I also don't want to inconvenience my friends with more couch surfing. Family's living on the other side of the country. Also, I was the one who got cheated on, but why am I the one having a hella hard time? So I thought to myself, would it be alright if I got back together with him, moved back into our place? The lease is only on his name, but we've been doing 50-50 on all expenses, and pretend to make things work when I have zero intention of making it work. I've talked to him a little over the phone last night and told him, and he did agree, that if I did come back, of course there would be no intimacy of any sort because of the hurt, which is true, and that we need to work on the foundation of our relationship first. A lie. Ain't no way, boy. That I won't have to pay for anything, rent, groceries, etc., until we're sure we could make things work. Basically, I plan on mooching off of him completely, except the imminent heavy love bombing, and milk him as much as possible, until I'm able to comfortably move out. He's paid for his side piece's salon trips, so maybe he could be guilt-tripped into shelling out some for his sweetest girl who took him back. Furnishing a new place could get expensive after all. But of course, I'll eventually pull out the "it's not working out" card. Evil me is saying to just ghost him, after I've gotten a new place. This is some manipulative crap, I know, but I suffered mental and emotional distress. That's just compensation, no? I left my perfectly fine apartment to move in with him, too. This is the best revenge I could think of. Destroying him or his things won't get me anything. Ducking off like a sweet angel for my mental health won't house and feed me. This be out here just trying to be practical and live a comfortable life. I know I'm a bit unstable right now. It's the first time I got cheated on and my first long-term relationship. So I'm asking you guys if you think this plan could work. Is doing this being too much, horrible? Should I just duck off? Do you have any more tips on what more I should do or do instead? Thanks. I understand the impulse, but you'd be poisoning your own well here. Manipulative behaviors never exist in a vacuum. That frame of mind can and will trickle into other aspects of your life. Furthermore, as much as you may believe you're doing this to harm him, it's also self-sabotage. You will be wasting more of your own time soaking in toxic feelings rather than healing and growing. You'll be intentionally hanging on to this man out of revenge, which means you will not be able to move on and have a healthy and functional relationship with someone else. Please go to therapy. Thursday morning, my sister-in-law woke us up at 6 a.m. sobbing on the phone. My little angel had passed away in the hospital the night before. The horrible part is that we never even knew she was sick. No one had said a word to us. We immediately got plane tickets and left to his home state the same day. We didn't really know what had happened. His sister Julie didn't really give us any details. She said we could talk about it once we got there. A few long hours and a very tearful plane ride later, we finally got to his place and found out what happened. Sister-in-law, who is husband's half-sister, was raised as a very devout Catholic and was raising Angel to be the same way. We are not religious, but I was raised Catholic, so I understood. Julie wanted her to get confirmed and was serious about her not missing any classes. We kind of butted heads on that because of what's going on in the world, and I was seriously worried that Angel would get sick. She was born premature and was immunocompromised, so of course I was really worried. I got my mother-in-law to help convince sister-in-law to space Angel's lessons to every other Sunday. That way, if she did get sick or the priest, nuns were ill, it would be obvious and make it safer. Or at least as safe as it could be, since sister-in-law wouldn't postpone it until after everything calmed down. Sister-in-law thought everything was calmed down enough to stop spacing out lessons and talked to the priest to give Angel extra lessons throughout the week after school so she could catch up. With all the constant and close proximity to other people at the worst time possible, Angel got sick. Her immune system wasn't up for the challenge, and it tore through her fast. Once we knew all the details, I was incredibly upset, more so than I already was. I had been begging sister-in-law to calm down with the lessons, but she thought it was too important to delay it. When I heard that, it was like my brain shut down completely. All I could hear was Angel saying, "Mimi, am I gonna get sick? Mama says God will protect me. Is he gonna protect me?" when we last spoke. I was beyond angry at her for it. I tried to not let it show in my face. I didn't say anything about it and tried to keep my face as neutral as I could. I did not succeed. After a while, she started noticing how quiet I was. When we first got there, we cried and clung to each other, comforting each other. After I heard the details, I kind of distanced myself. I was worried I'd lose my cool and say stuff in anger. There was enough pain going around, I didn't want to add to it. But, like a dog with a bone, she wouldn't drop it. She started yelling that I was being cold and distant, and that it was like I didn't even care that my goddaughter was dead. My husband immediately jumped in to my defense and said that while he understood she was in a lot of pain, and that she was going through something most would never understand, but that didn't mean she could take it out on me. I removed myself from the situation and went outside. I started chain smoking and just broke down sobbing. I was so angry at her for putting Angel into so much danger just to be confirmed by the church. It was just ridiculous to me. But I knew it wasn't my place to say anything, and saying anything to a mourning mother about how she was the main reason her daughter was gone would be a repugnant thing to do, regardless of it being true or not. After an hour, my husband left to get food, and sister-in-law came outside where I was, and at first, much calmer. She just asked to bum a cigarette. I gave it to her and stayed quiet. Apparently, that was the wrong thing to do. She started getting angry again. She didn't think I was comforting her enough or saying enough things to make her feel better. I apologized and told her I was just overwhelmed. Of course I was devastated by losing Angel, and that I couldn't imagine the pain she was going through. That just made her angrier. She said I had no reason to be overwhelmed. It was her daughter. It was her loss. Who did I think I was saying that to her, and to act that way towards her? I was very confused, but I didn't know what to say, so I just stayed quiet. My phone went off with a text notification, and holy cow, she ducking lost it. The sound I have set to play when I get texts is my goddaughter giggling and saying, "Charlie, Charlie, we're on a bridge, Charlie." It's a line from the Charlie and the Unicorn short. It was her favorite YouTube video, and she said it so adorably that I used it. It always made me smile. Hearing her voice tore through me. I started crying. She just started screaming at me. I mean, full-on crack your windows screeching at me. She said it was so disrespectful of me to have that on my phone, and how dare I use her daughter that way and make her listen to that. She grabbed the plastic ashtray between us and threw it at me, yelling that Angel was her daughter, not mine. When I just stared at her absolutely dumbfounded. And then she said something I'll never be able to forget or forgive. With her face an inch away from mine, she roared, "It's your fault my daughter went to hell." She pushed me back into my chair, screaming, "I told you I wanted to get her confirmed. I told you. She was supposed to have been confirmed a long time ago, so she could be purified before she became dirty, like you. And now it doesn't even matter because she's gone, and because of you, she's damned to hell." To clarify, I didn't get confirmed until I was almost 13, and by that point, I had already started my menstrual cycle. According to her, and her specific church apparently. But because I didn't get confirmed before it started, it made me dirty. To them, the fact that I had never been purified and welcomed into God's grace before flowering, I could never truly be fully accepted into God's grace. I'm honestly not sure where she got these beliefs from. I've never heard anything like that before. And then she said something that finally made me snap. "You wanted her to be like you. You wanted her to be your daughter, but she wasn't and never will be. This is why you don't have any children. God is punishing you for your disgusting ways. This is why God took your baby, because you're dirty. You wanted my baby girl and tried to steal her from me. God will never give you babies." My husband and I really wanted kids. The whole time we've been together, we always planned on having them. But I got sick, really sick. 70% of my stomach is gone. 1/3 of my esophagus, and almost 205 centimeters of my large intestine also had to be removed. We didn't realize how bad and thick the scar tissue in my abdomen was. We found out we were pregnant and we were ecstatic. We were told it would be impossible to conceive, and felt like he was our little miracle baby. 10 weeks in, I started having a lot of pain. Nothing horrible. It was mostly sore. It didn't really alarm us. I have chronic pain, so we assumed it was just me having a tough couple weeks. It just got worse. One night, I ended up passing out because of the pain and went to the ER. Doing tests, they realized the problem was that because of the scar tissue, a lot of my organs and abdomen are covered, wrapped in it, and with my womb growing, it was pulling at the scar tissue. If it had gone another 2 weeks, it would have torn me open, and I would have died from internal hemorrhaging before realizing how serious it was. We had to terminate the baby and accept we couldn't have kids. Sister-in-law knew all of this. She was my confidant when it came to that because her pregnancy with Angel was very rough. I broke. I just ducking broke. I finally just started yelling at her. I told her she didn't deserve her little girl, that she had been a bad mother who prioritized religion over her daughter's fragile health. I told her she should never have kids again because she was too selfish and self-absorbed to be a good mother. When we lived in the same city, Angel was with us and spent the night at our house every weekend. I was the one to pick her up from school, help her with homework, taught her how to bake cookies. All the while, sister-in-law was too busy man-hopping, going out, spending all her money on eating out, buying clothes, and smoking an insane amount of W. When I said that, she went to slap me, but I smacked her arm away from me and told her she was a B and didn't deserve such an amazing little girl. I turned and went back inside and locked myself in the bathroom. My husband got back not too long after that, and as soon as he stepped in, she went ballistic on him. I just told him I wanted to leave and get a hotel. I told him about it, and he was beyond angry. He called her and laid into her about it. She went running to mother-in-law and told her I blamed her for Angel's death and played victim. Now she's banned us from the funeral. She's not allowing us to attend at all, and a lot of the family is backing her up. I'm so ducking heartbroken I won't be able to say goodbye or be there for my little Angel. I'm so devastated and I don't know what to do. Is there anything I can do? I'm obviously not going to go to the funeral after she told me to stay away, but I don't know where to take my relationship with my in-laws from here. I would not go to the funeral. You can visit the grave at a later time and say goodbye. That's what I would do. Your sister-in-law is just projecting on you. She probably feels responsible on some level for her daughter's death, and she wants to blame someone else and make them feel as bad as she does. There's also the additional factor that she doesn't like that you had a motherly presence in her daughter's life. It probably makes her feel judged, like she wasn't a good enough mother. And in some ways, maybe that's true.